Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Gypsy Moto Show. I'm Brett Wenzel.
And I'm Chip Brock.
Got a lot of interesting things to go over tonight. We did have a great banquet this weekend. What'd you think of it?
Oh, it was incredible. We had really good turnout, and man, I love those awards that we gave out.
Yeah,
Those things were top notch.
those were pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's uh, Rochelle and Carson wanted to experiment with wood, so they kind of went that route. And now we got some
those
other
were really
ideas to
nice.
start making some trophies that are wood and steel and some acrylic. So got some pretty exciting things to come in
Yeah,
the future. But yeah, I thought those turned out pretty cool.
those were real nice. You know what I was really impressed with more than anything was whenever we were, handing out the awards, was the number of girls that are just rippers.
Yep.
I mean, that are winning the boys class.
Yeah. Isn't
You
that
know,
cool?
there was this one little girl. She was 12 and she was sitting at our table, and me and my wife were talking to her, and she said, "Yeah, I've got three first place." And I was like, "Oh, okay, it must be, the girl." No, she was like, well, she did race one girls class, but she was 12, and she raced up to 16-year-olds, and she was beating them.
Right.
And yeah, I was like, wow. And then I heard when you announced the other first place award she had, it was like boys, 12 to 14-year-old or something. I was like, my goodness, this kid is a ripper.
That would have
But there
been
was several girls that took a lot of first place.
yeah. Val and Dow, right? That's who it was. You were
Yep.
talking about was who?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
She's
exciting though, man. I'm glad to see these girls just, getting up there and tearing it up.
totally. I mean, they're riding like boys. A lot of them now. You know what I mean? It's like those
Oh
girls
yeah.
are. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
pretty
Other than
amazing.
their pony or their braids sticking out the back of their helmet,
Oh,
you don't know it's a girl anymore.
right.
You
That's so
know?
cool. It, like during the Loretta Lynn's qualifier when we had the protest paddock set up there, the impound, and they
uh,
all pulled in there. The top five is like you walk through there and they take their helmets off, and like they're all pretty girls and well spoken, and yet they're really fast
yes.
riders. And it's like we're
Yeah.
building some champions here, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was. It was really impressive. But yeah, it was a good banquet. Very good
It's
banquet.
great.
Food was good. Good
It,
night.
and Whiff, that was great for Whiff and Jim Paisley, both of those two. I don't
It
think
was.
I mean, I thought they'd be excited to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, but boy, that was like when I was standing up there, that was heartfelt. It was like you could really
Oh
just
yeah.
feel the emotion standing next to them, like how proud they were, and then having known them all these years, it's like there were so many things in my mind that I was thinking I could say, but it's like, well, we don't need to belabor this any. But I'm thinking about how many times Jim and I have been there. I mean, probably at least 100 times we've been there at like 2, 3 in the morning trying to get ready for some event, and just deciding, all right, what do we do? Or something breaks, and it's like Jim always being the mad
Well,
scientist. He's come up with some fix.
he's incredible. He's like a Swiss Army knife.
He
He
is.
can do it all. I mean, I've watched that guy out there working on stuff. I'm like, my goodness, he
Yeah,
knows how to do it all.
he is. And he sometimes he'll come up with these ideas, and you're sitting there thinking, "Oh my gosh, Jim!" And then you start thinking about it, and the more you think about it, it's like, that's ingenious. He like broke it down to its simplest form, and it's like on by hearing it, that just sounds absolutely stupid. But then by the time I've really stopped to think about it, it's like that's ingenious, and then we go do it and saves the day,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Our club's lucky to have both of those guys.
for
Really.
sure, and then Whiff, he's just that
Yeah,
guy that it just tells you what motorcycles do for you, keeping you young, and has such a positive attitude. And he's
he's
another
what,
one,
83?
83, and he was
Yeah.
actually a Kodak engineer. So he's a
Wow.
mad scientist too. I mean, when Jim and him get together, they come up with some stuff sometimes that is like pretty pretty amazing. But yeah, with made came up with the ideas to make Kodak cameras work. So
Wow.
yeah, so
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I was talking to him after one of our events. I don't know which one it was. It was during rally, and and it got over late. I might have been the short track race, and we had just finished up, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And he said, "Well, I got to get going." I said, "Where you live?" He goes, "Denver." I said, "You're leaving tonight?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "On a bike?"
Right.
And he said, "Yeah." And for people that aren't familiar with South Dakota and Wyoming and all that, we have a lot of big deer and a lot of big elk that love to hang out beside the road.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, you wouldn't catch me ever riding a motorcycle at night on our highways around here.
Oh, that's
I know a lady that had a deer run out in front of her, about killed her.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, but here's this guy. He's 83 years old. He's getting on his bike and driving probably 7 hours
Yeah.
to Denver at night, overnight, with all the deer and elk
After
and
he's
anything
worked,
else that's wrong.
yeah, like after he's worked an entire week of, 10 or
Yeah,
12-hour
bike rally.
days,
Yeah.
putting on the rally and stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But that's probably why he's 83. You know what I mean?
Yep. And
He's got a zest for life.
for sure, he really doesn't.
Mhm.
And then wake up the next morning, teach a writing class. I mean, so
Yeah.
did he sleep? That's what I was
I don't
kind
know
of
if he
thinking.
does or not. Yeah.
If you
He's-
left there
he's-
at 8:30 at night, I think he took like a power nap on the picnic table. Left there at 8:30 at night, got home. I don't know what time he would have got home, but pretty late. Then was up teaching a writing school by 8 in the morning. That's the
Yeah.
real deal.
Yeah, he's a unit.
He is, and he motocrossed until not too many years ago either. So
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. He actually
That's
raced
pretty
with. I told you this before, but he actually raced with Dick Mann, and they were traveling partners and stuff. So
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
kind of a big, he's kind of a big deal, but he doesn't really say much. So
Yeah.
kind of cool. And then the other thing I guess I was impressed with at the banquet was, just the kids that came up. Over the years, I've sat there and given away the trophies, and I've had these kids that come up and just grab the trophy and walk off. But just what I could see in those kids' eyes this time, a lot of them, was just their, the genuineness. I was just so kind of taken aback by that, how we're really starting to build some athletes there. Some people that really have
Oh,
some, just good, strong character and that kind of thing that as a coach type of person, I really like to see that. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And and that kind of brings me to something else I was thinking about. I was listening to a podcast, Gypsy Tales podcast. I really like that guy, how he interviews people.
Yeah.
And he had that. I think his name's Bobby Reagan.
Sure.
The guy that owns Star Racing.
Uh-huh.
And he was interviewing him, and he was talking about how he looks at kids. I mean, little kids. He was talking about kids on Pee-wees, Pee-wee 50s and stuff. That he was like, this kid's really good. As our club has grown and has a lot more clout in the motocross and motorcycle world. I know you've got a lot of connections now. Being a track owner and the president of our club. Do you think that that's something we could work on as a club? Is if we see a kid that first and foremost is a really good kid and well-spoken, polite, works hard, has a good attitude, and the kid's just an absolute phenom.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that we could work on promoting
100%.
through your contacts?
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. I mean, literally, for me, and I think for a lot of us, that's probably the biggest subconscious reason that we're doing it, just for that
Mhm.
purpose right there. So, absolutely. I mean, one of the big things that I think it depends on the person and the age and all that type of thing. But one of the major things that we would be doing is getting a hold of Gene Crouch and saying, listen, this is somebody that's a phenom here. We need to kind of, open the doors and start beating on doors and make sure that we can get this person some people looking at them. And, that's the one thing about
Yeah.
Gene he's in it for the right reasons. I mean, very often you have people that are the CEO, and for those of you that don't know who I'm talking about Gene Crouch, the CEO of AMA Pro, um, and then also his second in command, I believe, Cameron Gray. I believe he's the COO. Both of those guys are kind of dynamic people, and they have huge contacts, and they also have influence. You know, they're the kind of people that can make a phone call and say, I want this to happen, or this should happen, or I'd like to see you
Okay.
do this. And some of the things that have happened for us have come through those channels, and so very influential. But where I started, he's in it for the right reasons. Is, you know, he's a CEO that's not just there for dollars and cents. I mean, he truly is a motorcycle fanatic, loves the sport. I've He's called me up. He probably doesn't want me saying this, but he's called me up, and I think he was probably at 3 o'clock in the morning at Daytona Speedway when he called me up, and it was like 1:30 here, just because he had. What do you think about this? I mean, he's that kind of a guy. He's very inquisitive,
Yeah.
and he's always on the job, kind of a thing. And you know, he's somebody that listens. Where a lot of times people will say things, but they're not really, or they'll be giving you the head nod, but they're not listening. Nah, he's really listening, and then he actually implements some of the things that you give him. So, you know, that
Yeah,
would
it's a
be
good
one of the
resource.
first things I would do.
Yeah, yeah. Because you think about it, our state here in South Dakota, we're, I mean, we're forgotten. Sometimes I'll watch the national, even like with all the weather. I was watching the other day. I looked at my wife, and they were like, this state's going to get this, and I was like, what about South Dakota? But it's like we're forgotten about. It's
Right.
like we're you know what I
Part of
mean?
Canada or
We're like
something.
the Arctic, we're the Arctic Circle that nobody even knows about. But
So
but we've got good riders and racers here,
right.
and it's like, you know, like 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 I've said before, I'm originally from Florida, of course, as you know, and Florida's a hotbed. So you get the kids down there. If you're good, everybody knows it, and it's easy to get promoted. But
Right.
from South Dakota and Wyoming and North Dakota, our region, there's not a whole lot of interest.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like from outside. And so I was sitting there thinking when I was listening to that podcast is maybe it would behoove us and, the connections you have also with other local tracks, see if we can start promoting some of our kids that would be good ambassadors from this region. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a Ryan Dungey or someone like that, just a thought, but if we could do something like that, that'd be really cool.
Well, I mean, I think that's ultimately been our long-term goal. You know, it's one of those things. Life's only so long, and you keep realizing that more and more. But that long term, I think that's one of the things we've been really shooting at. We had so many building blocks and things to get to where we needed to go. I mean, we had the track built up to some pretty deep renowned, and then some other people, we'd let them take it over, and it just over time different people were there, and we'd kind of lived off our laurels, and then we kind of got to a place we didn't want to be. And so I think the last several years have been just rebuilding that and rebuilding the facility, rebuilding the equipment, rebuilding all the infrastructure, and then really deciding where are we going to go. But in the back of my mind, in the back of I think most of us in the club's mind, that's really where we wanted to go, is a place of excellence and a place of opportunity for all the people coming up. And I think we'd all seen it because we've been racers ourselves, or we've had our kids that were racers, and we saw that what it took to get them that opportunity versus people that lived in the right places. And then also, I think, and by saying that, I mean we just had to work twice as hard to even kind of noticed.
Right.
And yet we would have the privateers come when we were doing the big money races during the rally back in the day, and our local guys many times would beat the privateers. And these were guys that were placing in the top, say, 15 at used to be that it was at Spring Creek, and then they think they were heading to Washougal, so they were right on the interstate going by us, and a bunch of them would stop. And these guys were fast, but yet some of our local guys were beating them. And but they just didn't have that opportunity to be at that place. And so I think that's one of our biggest things is to change that. And I'm sorry this is going long, but it's kind of a bigger thought that I have that has to do with that. The other thing that I think has held us back a lot is, I've talked with people at MX Sports, I've talked with people at AMA Ohio, and while they're great to work with, you can feel it when they talk to you that you're South Dakota, you don't have a big enough population, you guys are. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, but don't get too big of thoughts and don't get too big of hopes and dreams just because the economics are not there for you guys just because of where you're at. And that's just something that we're the Gypsies. We won't stand for it. It's the reason we're the only motorcycle club that's in the AMA Hall of Fame, and we're one of the oldest motorcycle clubs. And we started the Sturgis Rallies because we have a different vision. And so those are the things that we're really going to work on. And I think we're going to start seeing those things come into fruition, where we are going to be able to give some of the young up-and-comers the opportunity that they haven't had in the past. So
that'd be awesome. Yeah. I like the sound of that.
Yeah. And then I think we get to see what all this work's been, or all of us old guys have been doing it. It's like, yeah, we know what the work's been about. It's been about for also the fun that we get to ride on the track. But the real thing is posterity and what we pass on and what we build and that tradition that we build and the opportunity that we build. And I think that's the other thing, is bringing some other people up alongside us that want to jump into our shoes someday and go to the next level. So,
right.
So, yeah.
Well, I was looking this past year, at the Loretta Lands Championship, and I was, I'd look where kids are from, and I was like, where's South Dakota kid? Where's South Dakota kid? I know that we're, a very unpopulated state, so just by the numbers. But if you think about it, a lot of the riding areas, like on the eastern, United States and stuff, are drying up because, the land is worth more than the track.
Right.
Than the track makes. So riding areas are getting, more scarce and more scarce there. We have an abundance of places to ride. Maybe not tracks, but I mean, like where I live right now, I can go out, roll out my bike, and I could ride from here to Montana if I wanted.
Right.
Just
it's
on
true.
trailers.
And that's not an exaggeration.
And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, I live in the national forest, and,
right.
and I can ride forever.
Right.
And so we are a riders, area. We have great resources for riding or building backyard tracks or whatever you want.
Right.
So eventually, this will be the only place where you're going to get riders from, is kids that that have the opportunity to ride all the time or have a backyard track or whatever, because a lot of them, like I said, are drying up.
Right. And on that note, the one thing we've had this discussion before, we've kind of turned into this elitist sport a little bit, and a lot of the training programs and things that happen other places that cause people to become, the best of the best. Well,
right.
A lot of us have been watching, and when I say a lot of us, I mean people in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, all of these upper western states like that. We've been watching and seeing what's happening. And, we have schools, we have quality schools now, and we can have them regularly. We have some quality tracks. The tracks that are left are high quality tracks. And they are also tracks that truly represent, what an outdoor track is, that kind of a thing. And we have people that are training in these schools that, have a proven track record of their own racing career and are also teachers in their own right, maybe in another, maybe some of them that I'm thinking of are actually teachers or instructors already. And so, we've got that down. So anyway, bottom line is we've been taking note, and something I think that's going to happen is, these people that have been discounted um, for living in these states, we're going to start seeing some things change because the people have been traveling, but I also, and going down and making a statement. But I also think we're going to also start seeing some bigger events in these areas. I happen to
Hmm.
know there's going to be some bigger events that are going to be more destination events in our areas that are going to start taking place. And so I think the opportunity is on its way, and I think that we're going to start being put on the map a little bit more than we have. So
Oh, good.
that's all.
That's good news.
That's all to come.